At 30, a sleek frock like the one by Narciso Rodriguez that Carolyn Bessette had worn on her wedding day had seemed just the thing. What had been more difficult to imagine through the years was the groom, that necessary figure who would make a wedding possible. But Bess hadn't been worried. Prince Charming would make an appearance at the right time, as all romantic heroes did. He might come in an initially off-putting package, like the Beast, or in an all-around glossy form like Prince Charming, or somewhere in between the two, a Mr. Darcy, complete with a bit too much pride or prejudice, but an otherwise stellar character and on sound financial footing to boot. Bess had dated enough deadbeat guys to appreciate the value of financial health. But as she approached her 40th birthday, Bess had begun, just a little, to doubt that her very own knight in shining armor would ever show up to walk side by side with her through life. She needn't have worried. Less than a year later, Nathan Creek, a widower for the past 20-odd years, had spotted her across a crowd of partygoers, introduced himself, and asked if he might take her to dinner one evening. Bess had said yes. 3 months later, Nathan had proposed. In about 2 weeks' time, they would be married. For the past 11 years, Bess had owned a party and event planning company called Joie de Vivre. The business continued to flourish, even in years when the economy was not as robust as anyone would like it to be. People needed to honor loved ones and to acknowledge milestones, no matter how much or how little money they had. Bess strove tirelessly to create special occasions tailored for each client. She loved what she did and could think of no career for which she was better suited. So when it came time to plan her own wedding, Bess was in the perfect position to make her dream a reality. A wedding on the beach. That was what she wanted, and that was what she was going to have. And an essential component of that wedding was a charming vacation house from which Bess could hold court prior to the big day. Her amazing assistant, Kara, had found just such a place. Driftwood House had cost Bess a fortune, as the owners quite wisely preferred to rent for a 4-week minimum, Maine's short summer being prime time for discriminating vacationers. But nothing was too good for her wedding, or perhaps even more importantly, for her friends. And not just any friends. The friends she had made in college and had kept and cherished all the years since. Marta Kennedy, long married to Mike McIntosh, another of the old gang. Chuck Fortunato, now husband to Dean Williams, and Allison and Chris Montague. There was only one dark spot in the sunny scenario. 2 of those dear friends, a couple since freshman year of college, were nearing the finalization of a divorce. Bess and the others were deeply puzzled. No explanation or excuse had been offered. Questions had been deflected or met with silence. Endless hours had been spent guessing at reasons why the seemingly golden marriage of 2 such perfectly matched people as Allison and Chris was about to be so decidedly broken. The upsetting fact of the impending divorce hadn't put Bess off from wanting, indeed from needing, both Allison and Chris at her wedding. Even the fact, recently uncovered by Mike through an unprofessionally chatty colleague in the law, that Chris had been the leader in the divorce proceedings, hadn't put Bess off inviting him. Marta, however, had strongly suggested that before extending Chris an invitation, Bess ask Allison how she felt about her soon-to-be former husband attending the wedding. So, Bess had called Allison one evening and after a few minutes of small talk, had broached the delicate subject. "I'm thinking of asking Chris to the wedding," she said. "But I wanted to check with you first. It's totally fine if you say you'd rather I didn't. The decision is yours." After a long moment of silence, Allison had given her permission, if not exactly her blessing. "Of course, you should ask him if that's what you really want. It's your day, Bess. It's all about the bride." For a split second, Bess had wondered if Allison had meant something snide by that last remark, but dismissed her suspicion as ridiculous. Allison was never snide. Still, Bess had gone on to extract a promise from her old friend that she was 100% sure that she was okay with Chris attending the wedding. "It's just that it would be a shame for him not to be there," she said, even knowing that it was Chris who initiated the divorce. Allison had laughed then, an unhappy laugh. "I suppose I should have known it would come out sooner or later," she said. But she had offered no further information and ended the call quickly after that. Bess sent the wedding invitations the very next morning. Before a full week had passed, Chris had returned the reply card with the "will not attend" box firmly checked off and a brief note scrawled on the back of the card.